Huh.
Happy New Year, guys, 2018, and this is the Kingkong Tiny 6. Well, it's my Kingkong Tiny 6. It's not going to be a review, it's more what I've found and like and don't like about the Tiny 6. There are many review videos out there, some really good, some really not so good. But yeah, this is the one I bought. It's a 65mm frame, motor to motor, Truex layout, and 6mm motors. I think these are 59,000 kV. I can't remember. 31mm props. So in the advanced box there is a standard version where you just get one battery, charger, and the quad. This is the advanced. With the advanced you get the quad itself, you get 5 batteries, 250 milliamp 30C. They are the GNB batteries, which I quite like. I've got some 3S and 4S GNBs as well, and they've been quite good. I've flown these now maybe 8-10 times each, no problems. Been superb so far. Also in the box you get 3 sets of spare props, red, white, pink. It came with the yellow props, but I swapped it out for red because I fly with a friend who's kept his yellow. And you get 3 spare canopies, obviously pink, white, and in my box now it's yellow. So you get pink, white, yellow, red canopies, pink, white, yellow, red props. Also in the box you get a 5-way charger. Now with these you can plug 2 to 6S battery in this end and plug your batteries in there. It charges them all individually at 200 milliamps, and if you switch the switch it'll give you 500 milliamps. I only charge mine at 1S, so 200 milliamps, well just below 1S, 200 milliamps. And at the other end you can plug in a USB lead and charge it from an iPhone charger or your laptop or whatever else you can got with USB. And you also get a prop tool. Now I got the FR Sky version because I use a Taranis QX7, and in the quad on the FR Sky version you get a little XM receiver. This isn't the one that's in the quad, this is just a spare one I've got. So it actually uses an XM, that focus, an XM receiver, which are fantastic little receivers. All they do in the Tiny 6 is coil this up, put some heat shrink around it, and just leave this little bit sticking out. I've not had a problem with range on the radio. The only issue I had is the bind button on these, if I can find, there it is, there, which is, I'll get the light, it is tiny, really small. And the other thing is you just struggle just pushing that. You can feel it, but in the Tiny 6 it's got heat shrink already on it, and it's difficult knowing when you've pressed it, but a couple of attempts on binding it and you're good to go. So yeah, great little receiver in the Tiny 6. However, the camera is allegedly 800 TVL. It's got a built-in, or the flight controller's got a built-in 16 channel 25 milliwatt VTX, and this little piece of copper wire here, again it's going to be really tricky to see on the camera because it's so thin. This little tiny piece of wire here is your video antenna. So obviously it's linear, and I also fly an Eachine EO10S, which has a separate camera and VTX with a cloverleaf antenna. And flying this round where I normally fly the Eachine, the video breaks up on this one quite a bit more. Once you go through into another room and you're going through a brick wall, this starts to break up. You really need line of sight on this one. So the video isn't as good. It uses a SP Racing F3 flight controller, which I like. It's the same as the one in the Eachine more or less, except this one's got the built-in VTX. And it flies really quite well. The stock PIDs, it's flyable. I have up the P and the D gain on this one. And it flies superb. One thing I did find with it, to change the canopy, you've got to take the camera out of the yellow canopy, and you've got to be really careful because from the factory they glue it in with quite a hard glue. It's not like a hot glue gun type of glue. It's like a super glue, so you really have to tweak it and twiddle and tweak and tweak and tweak until it eventually gives. If you try and force it, you're gonna break it. So just be careful if you're changing the canopy. The canopy is held in by these two tiny screws, and you don't want to be taking these two in and out that much because it will strip. The batteries, like I said, 250 milliamp 30C, really good. They fit in really well underneath and they're held quite securely. It just pushes in there, and that is quite secure. That's not going to fall out. The only downside is these crappy connectors. I don't like these at all. Now this connector, when it's connected to the battery and you've been flying for a couple of minutes, does get hot. It gets really hot, which makes me think it's not handling the current well. It needs a bigger connector, but big connector means you can't use these batteries, so you're kind of stuck with it. But it doesn't do too bad. You got your standard motors, which you can replace easily using Racer Star 6mm motors, which I use on the Eachine. They're quite good. They just plug in, easy enough. The wires are held together, these little rubber bands on the bottom there. So not much more really to say. I have flown it outside. I'll put some flight footage on at the end for you. Mainly this is an indoor beast. Outdoor, you can do if there's no wind at all. It really does, get a good turn of speed up. Very manoeuvrable. You can acro with it. I have done flips, rolls. Not so great if you're coming down at a fair rate of knots. Don't try and punch up because it'll just do daft things and you get the flip of death, as they call it. So yeah, just be careful on descents. Don't descend too fast with these things. And any wind, it will get blown about because I think it weighs something like 20 grams without a battery and receiver, so 19 point something grams. So it doesn't weigh a great deal. The beauty of this and the advantage of this over the Eachine is it's low profile and everything's protected by this canopy. With the Eachine you've got a separate camera and cloverleaf on top, which makes it nearly twice as tall. So this thing, yeah, bashed it about all over the house, crashed it into nearly everything, and it's been superb. So I'll put the video footage up. If you want one, go and get one. I can highly recommend them. Not giving me a problem. Easy to set up, easy to bind, flies great. Thanks guys, see you again soon.